Hey everyone, it's Kaycie, and today I'm guiding you through a mini yin class, and everything's going to be done at the wall space. So it's the only prop you're going to need, a wall and your yoga mat. And this focus is going to be on the hips, so opening up into the hips and a little bit into that lower back. So we're going to start off with a few breaths, ground ourselves into our bodies, and then we'll come down onto our backs for the remainder of the practice. Close your eyes. Lift your spine up nice and tall, and exhale, let all of your breath out. Through the nose, expand breath into your belly, your ribs, and all the way up into your chest. Full inhale, holding at the top. And just open your mouth and exhale, let it all the way out. Again, slow inhale, breathing through the nose to the belly, the ribs, up into your chest. Hold. Keep the breath through the nose this time. Exhale, empty out through your chest, your ribs, and all the way out through your belly. One more time together. Inhale, gather the breath in the lower torso, mid, lifting all the way up into your chest and your shoulders, holding it here. Through the nose, exhale, empty out your chest, empty out your ribs, and then empty out through your belly. Relax your breath, but still paying attention to your breath. Let's start to blink open through the eyes. So we're going to come down onto our backs, and we will make little micro adjustments as far as the hip placement. Wherever our hips are in kind of conjunction with the wall. So we might need to scoot away, we might need to scoot in closer, so we'll kind of play with those. You're going to come down into a fetal position so that your butt and your feet are as close to the wall as you can get them. And then once you're there, the hips might touch the wall, there might be a little space. You're gonna roll onto your back. And once you come up onto the back, go ahead and extend the legs up the length of the wall. Now, one thing that is gonna be really, really important in today's practice is making sure your hips stay down on the ground. So we don't at any point want the hips to start curling up away from the floor. Once the backs of the hips are no longer touching the ground, then we're putting a point of tension into the back, and we don't want that. We want the back to be supported by the floor, nice and relaxed, so the full stretch goes into the hips, okay? So if at any point your hips curl up away from the ground, all you have to do is scoot further away from the wall. And as you scoot farther away from the wall, your hips will relax down to the ground, spine nice and flat on the floor, okay? And if you ever want a little more intensity, you don't feel enough, you're gonna walk your hips closer to the wall, okay? Maybe they touch, maybe not. Either way, just listen to your body and make sure your sacrum is grounded. Okay, we're gonna extend the legs up, and then you're gonna slowly just start to let the legs fall open nice and wide. Okay, so if you need to kind of hold on with your hands initially just to provide a little support, especially if you haven't really moved much today or you're feeling really stiff or tight, this one can be a lot. So feel free to offer some support, hands grabbing the outsides of the legs or pushing thighs towards the wall or creating more space, hips away from the wall. And then once you find that space, it might not happen right away where you're able to just relax and drop in. We're gonna take a couple breaths to help us aid deeper into the stretch. So let's all exhale, let the breath out. Slow breath in through the nose, gather the breath down into the belly, into the ribs, into the chest. Hold the breath. Through the nose, exhale through your chest, your ribs, your belly. Let's do one more of those together. Breath in, belly, ribs, chest, And then through the nose, exhale your chest, your ribs, and all the way out through the belly. Now still focus on a nice, slow, easy breath, but don't feel like you have to reach the peak of that breath each time. Just allow the breath to expand into your belly. And as the breath opens up down into the belly, feeling more relaxed with each exhale. Hands can stay supporting the outsides of the legs, or if it feels good, hands can just drop down to your sides to the floor, or rest your hands to the insides of the thighs. Let your legs let go as much as they possibly can. So you're gonna feel the muscles tighten, especially in the inner hips and in the groin. So focus on that space that feels super tight and resistant, and focus those really slow, easy breaths all the way down into the inner hips. Try to soften the layers, just pull them back one little layer at a time. There's no rush. We're gonna be here. Give yourself, let's say, at least 5 more really slow breaths. Let's take one more bonus breath. Wiggle the toes a little bit here. And then you're going to use your hands to the outsides of the legs, around the knees or thighs. And you're going to help to kind of soften the knees, bend them up a little bit. And then walking the feet back up the wall. You can kind of push your knees towards each other. And then once you're there, just bend the knees, draw them into your chest. And if it feels good, you can sway side to side. If your feet feel pretty stuck on the wall, you can just rock your knees side to side. Like little windshield wipers with the feet grounded. Okay, so with the hips nice and close to the wall, as close as you can while the backs of the hips stay nice and grounded, you're gonna now let the soles of the feet come together and let the knees open out wide away from one another to either side. Now, as you come into this shape, we have been working the inner hips and groins, so we're gonna kind of play off of that and let ourselves continue to move a little bit deeper into it. So take your hands to the insides of the thighs, and one at a time, you're gonna kind of press the right thigh open towards the wall, and then rock to the other side, pressing through the left thigh. And then exhaling, press through the right hand, thigh towards the wall. Take nice deep breaths and start to move with your breath from one side to the next. Take another round or so of breath. And then as you come back to that center point, we're gonna lift the right knee towards the chest. So you're just starting to angle the knee back through to center. And this might already feel like enough of a stretch for you. If you want more, your hands can cup around the knee or shin and just start to pull it in a little bit closer to your chest or slightly towards the right armpit. Now, one more variation if you'd like. reaching the right hand through the inside of your right leg, and you can grab a hold of the inside or outside of the foot, or you can even grab a hold of the big toe, your choice. And then you're going to start to angle the sole of the foot towards the ceiling and bend the knee towards the ground. But you're not really pulling that much with that right arm. I want you to kind of feel it relax instead. So you feel the heaviness of the arm just kind of hanging on the foot. And let's give ourselves at least 3 full deep breaths from this position, just letting yourself melt in as much as possible. Remember to slow your breath down. Breathe belly, ribs, chest. Feel a slight pause and then exhale chest, ribs, and belly. Try to keep the inhales and the exhales equal in length and depth. Not rushing. Now, if you are in this half happy baby position with your right leg, we're going to take one more breath. Option to kick the right leg out straight to the right side as much as you can. It's okay if there's a bend into the knee. It's okay if it fully straightens out. As you extend it out, feel it melting towards the floor. One more breath. If the leg is extended, rebend the knee. You're going to slowly release a hold of your foot or a hold of your knee. Let the foot touch the wall and then bring the soles of the feet back together, knees open up wide. Okay, we're going to go into the same thing, but now on the other side. Left knee starts to lift back up to center, foot flat on the wall. Use your hands to pull the knee closer to the chest. Unless it's enough, just keeping the foot on the wall. But as you pull it in, maybe open it up towards the armpit for a little more space. Stay here. Maybe if you want to take that half happy baby variation, left hand reaches through the inside of your left leg. Same options. You can grab inside of foot, or you can grab the outside of the foot, or you can grab a hold of the big toe. Option is yours. Sole of the foot will face towards the ceiling, and then bending the knee towards the ground. Once again, try not to pull with your arm. Try not to pull with the shoulder or the hand. Just let gravity kind of hang out here through the foot, through the arm, feeling the heaviness, just providing a little extra assist. Close your eyes, let the eyes sink back, at least a few breaths right here before I'll give more option. Slow your breath down. Think of the compartments for where the breath is moving. And if you are in this half happy baby variation with the left leg, maybe stay here, maybe extend the leg out as straight as you can. Once again, it's okay if there's a bend into the knee. Maybe the leg falls heavier towards the ground. One extra breath. If you extended the leg, rebending into the knee. Slowly release, let the foot touch the wall, soles of the feet together, knees open up wide. And then you're going to press your feet into the wall. And as you press the feet into the wall, just feel a little bit of activation and opening into the hips. And then relax. Hands to the outer knees, lift them towards one another. Oh, this should feel so good. You can stretch the legs up the wall. And I want you to just kind of move however it feels good here. So that was pretty much one long sequence on those inner hips. So release for a few breaths, move in the way that feels a little bit more natural for you. Okay, so if your hips are touching the wall, that's totally fine, but we are going to go into an outer hip stretch now. And as we move into this outer hip stretch, it's really natural when we start moving deeper into this for the hips to start curling up again. So I would recommend, if your hips are really tight, create a little space between your hips and the wall to start, okay? Or if at any point you start to get into it and it feels either A, too challenging, or B, you just need to relax the hips back down and the spine back down to the ground, then just scoot a little bit away from the wall at any point, okay? With the legs extended up the wall, right ankle is going to cross over your left thigh. So we're coming into a figure 4 stretch. Now you're going to slowly start to bend your left knee and wiggle your left foot down the wall. Now you'll notice as the foot comes down the wall, that right leg pulls closer towards your chest. If the hips are too tight and the hips start to curl up, back away from the wall or walk your foot up the wall a little bit to let the hips relax back down and to find that point of tension where you can feel the stretch into the outer hips and into the glute, but without putting extra pressure or tension into the lower back. Okay, so with this right leg kind of open into this figured 4 position, okay? Once again, if you don't feel enough, hips closer to the wall, you feel too much, hips farther away. If you want to give yourself a little assist while you're here and it's accessible, right hand, we can use the arm like a kickstand. We're really going to use the forearm here. So right hand to the inside of the right knee or thigh, and you're just going to kind of guide it up a little bit away from you, and then see if you can wedge your elbow down to the ground. So you're kickstanding it down so that the full length of your forearm is supporting that lift of the knee, which helps to deepen the stretch into the outer hip. So find your variation, play with it a little bit, adjust, find those micro adjustments, and the more you play with it, the easier it is to find over time. And give yourself, let's say, 10 really slow breaths. Really let yourself melt into it as much as possible, breathing through the belly, the ribs, the chest, exhaling just as slowly, and visualize the breath moving down into that outer hip and into the glutes to create more softness and melting in. Try not to rush the breath. Let it be easy, smooth, and rhythmic, and helping to soothe and calm your body and your mind. Let's take one more bonus breath here. Feel into that outer hip. Really let yourself surrender open. And then we're going to start to walk the left foot back up the wall until you can extend and release both legs. Release your arm if it's kickstanding. And just shake out your legs however you please here. Another breath. All right, we're going to do the other side. With your legs extended up, let's cross left ankle over the top of the right thigh. And then begin to bend your right knee. Foot slides down the wall. This side is probably going to be a little different than the other side, so if you need to scoot away from the wall or closer to, make those adjustments. Find that point where the hips stay nice and grounded, but you feel a lot of opening into the outer left hip. Stay here, or left hand to the inner left thigh and kind of guide it up, and then maybe kickstand your elbow to the ground, and then just relax that arm. And now we have a nice supported position, a deeper stretch into the outer hip, into the glutes. The lower back is nice and grounded down. 10 slow breaths in and out of the nose. Once again, really visualize the compartments of breath, filling them up one section at a time, and then rhythmically flowing it back out. Start to find that steady rhythm of your breath, that cadence. Take 2 more breaths, maybe feel a little more depth. And then walking the right foot back up the wall until you can release your left foot long, release your hands, and then shake out for a few breaths. Okay, so the next one we're gonna do, we do want a distance between our hips and the wall, because we want to imagine that when we bend our knees, that we can create almost like a perfect little shelf or tabletop with our legs, okay? So a 90-degree bend into the knees, which means we'll need the length of our shins at least away from the wall. So you could take your feet to the wall with the knees bent and just start to kind of walk your shoulders and hips back. If you lift the head, it lifts, you can kind of rock a little bit better. But we do want the hips to stay grounded again. But once again, find that nice shelf with the legs where your shins are parallel with the ground, feet flat at the wall, and the knees are stacked right over your hips, okay? So from this position, we're gonna come a little deeper into the inner hips again. So you're gonna keep this 90-degree bend into the knees. We're not gonna straighten the legs out. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna think about almost like a rainbow shape. And right now our feet are at the top of the rainbow, which means it's gonna arc towards the ground. But the toes are always gonna be pointed out, away from the center. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start to walk the feet out in that half circular motion, that arc, towards the floor. And then I want you to turn the toes out. So as the toes turn out, you're allowing more of that inner hip opening, okay? Now, find that nice position where you have a good point of tension on the hips. The feet don't have to go super far down on the wall. Just make sure they're nice and grounded where you're starting to lightly open up the inner hips, the back of the sacrum, the hips are nice and grounded on the floor. Hands can rest anywhere you'd like. If you need to hold and support the thighs, you can. Otherwise, relax the hands to the insides of the legs if you want a little extra kind of gravitational pull, that weight that we're applying. But we're not pulling or using muscular effort. It's just kind of letting it hang here as a little extra. Let your eyes sink back into the sockets. And once again, try to take 10 really slow breaths in and out of your nose. Focus on where the breath is going and knowing you're not rushing anything. If you feel like you've settled, maybe open yourself up just a little bit deeper, 3 more breaths. All right, let's take the hands to the outsides of the knees, and you're gonna help kind of push the knees up towards each other as you walk the feet back up the wall, and then extend your legs up here for a moment. Once again, just move however it feels good. And then we're gonna open the arms out from the shoulders. And as the arms open out wide to a T, we're gonna take a bend into the knees again, okay? You're gonna press your feet, lift the hips just a little off the ground. And right here, you can kind of notice that they can swing side to side. Feet at the wall, hips can kind of sweep side to side, and just kind of feel that out. Notice that scooping of the lower back up allows more pivot. And then you're gonna pivot the hips to the left, swing them wide to the left, and then rest them down to the ground. So right now, your hips are a little off skew. They're a little bit off to the side, which is gonna feel really good. We're gonna create more space in our lower back for what we're about to do. So if you feel like your feet can't come off the wall, then just keep them here. You can also feel the knees draw towards the chest and then let them fall to the right side, okay? So feet can come away from the wall as they drop to the right, or if feet are glued to the wall, just walk the feet off to the right side. And just let them either stay stacked, they don't have to be touching, but you're just resting here, keeping both shoulder blades down on the ground. Or if you want a little more depth, you can cross that top left leg over the bottom and just provide that little extra weight and stretch. Let's take at least 5 or 6 slow breaths from this position. Right hand can also rest on top of that top leg to provide that little bit more weight to the position. And if that weight is too much, you can take it off, you can uncross the legs, you can even provide support underneath or between the knees if that's calling to you, especially if you feel any tension or too much discomfort in your hips or in your knees. Full breaths, just let yourself melt on the exhales. Now from here, wherever your left leg is, whether it's on top or crossed over, you're gonna slowly start to kick the leg straight as you can. Once again, it's okay if there's a bend into the knee, but I want you to pull the toes back and extend out through the heel as much as possible until you start to feel the side of the left leg start to light up. And holding here, just one extra breath. And then rebend the knee, uncross them if they're crossed, and then just walk your feet back up the wall to center. And since the hips are still a little off skew, just bring them back to the middle, hug the knees to the chest, and if you can, sway side to side, or if the feet are glued to the wall and you can't pull them in, just rock them here with the feet on the wall, little windshield wipers. Okay, let's take the arms back out from your shoulders, out to the sides. And with the feet at the wall, you're gonna lift the hips again. And as you lift the hips, you're gonna find that sweeping motion side to side. Let them rock to the right side this time, and then let them drop down. Feet can either stay at the wall, walking them over to the left side, or feel the knees pull to the chest, and then let them fall to the left. Knees can stay stacked. Maybe you cross top leg over the bottom. Your choice. Also have the option of taking left hand to the top leg and just using that little extra assist and weight to provide depth into the position. Give yourself, let's take at least 5 or 6 breaths. And just let the spine unwind, relaxing into that lower back, releasing all the way down into the hips. Let's take one more bonus breath here. And then with that top leg, whether it's on top or crossed over, you're gonna slowly start to pull the toes back on the right foot and then extend out through the right leg as straight as you can, even if there's a bend. Kicking it out, and just hold here one extra breath. Feel the side of the leg. Rebend the knee. If they're crossed, gently uncross them. And then walk your feet back up the wall, back to center. And as you press the feet into the wall, lift the hips, bring them back to the middle of the mat. And either windshield wiper your knees or hug them into your chest and sway side to side. Okay, we're gonna finish off with legs up the wall. So for this one, you might wanna keep gap of space between your hips and the wall if extending your legs all the way straight at a 90-degree angle puts any tension on the back of your hips or into your lower back, okay? If it doesn't, then hips at the wall is just fine. You're gonna slowly roll over to either side into a fetal position and just scoot yourself closer to the wall, trying to get the hips either to touch or to find that gap of space that's appropriate for you. As you roll over onto your back again, legs go directly up the wall. You can kind of scoot and adjust once you're in it here. But once again, we want the lower back to be flat and resting heavy on the ground, nice and supported. Legs up nice and stacked over the hips. It's okay if there's a little softness in the knees, but we want to be able to straighten here. If your hips are really far away from the wall, it's okay to take a soft bend, and that way we don't feel too much of an angle resting into our knees. Okay, so let the arms rest anywhere comfortable. Slight tuck of the shoulder blades. We're going to take a few breaths and just help ourselves to relax deeper into this position. Exhale, let everything out. Slow breath in through the nose, fill up your belly. Fill up your ribs, all the way up into your chest. Hold your breath. And then open your mouth, let it all the way out. 2 more just like that. Slow breath into your belly, your ribs, all the way up into your chest. Hold. Open your mouth, exhale, let it out. One more. Slow inhale, belly, ribs, chest. Hold at the top of the breath, and as you do, I want you to clench your entire body. So squeeze through your hands, squeeze through your feet and toes, squeeze your quads, squeeze into your abs, squeeze your glutes, squeeze through the chest, your arms, your face, as much as you can for 3, 2, and 1. Exhale, let everything out. Let your body just kind of flop into whatever comfortable resting position it does. Legs nice and tall, but soft, relaxed. Lower back melting down into the ground, puddling out. All the muscles in the face start to find more softening, more surrender. And we're going to be here in stillness. For the next few minutes, just allow yourself to fully embody the still. But if at any point this position does not feel good for you to have the legs up in this inverted positioning, you can always make your way away from the wall and just let your body lie flat on the back, legs on the ground, resting in Shavasana. It's your choice. Allow yourself to release. Start to slowly deepen your breath. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Rock your head side to side. And then pull the knees down towards the chest, walking the feet down the wall. If you need to scoot away a little bit, you can scoot. Sway side to side, and then just rock over to either side in a nice little fetal positioning. Pressing into your top hand as you slowly come all the way back up into a nice seat. Any seat of your choosing, closing the eyes, spine up, hands joined together at heart center. Thank your bodies for all that they just did for you, for showing up, And thank you so much for allowing me to guide you through your practice. Namaste. Right, so showing up really is the hardest part, and you showing up for yourself is bringing that nurturing and that comfort back into the busyness and movement-based lifestyle that we have every single day. So kudos for showing up for you today, and I am so grateful to be able to share this practice. I love doing stretches at the wall and being able to fully release without any effort, just fully letting go. So let me know in the comments how you like the video, share with someone you think may enjoy, and I will have more content coming your way soon. Thanks, y'all.